Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, October the 12th. Hey, we got a fill in this week. Tracy Robinson going to talk a little bit of Logan, Martin, and Lay Lake, and then our usual crew. We got Lee Pitts talking Neely, Henry, and Weiss. Of course, we got Tom Ott to focus on Guntersville, and then we got Gentry Gordy going to talk a little bit of Lake Martin and Jordan. Bassmaster Opens down there this weekend on Lake Martin. We'll see what Gentry had to say about what those guys expect. We'll be right back with what the guys have to say. Hey, while I'm in the air looking at the Red River rivalry, OU going to beat Texas, I hope. We're going to be talking to Lee Pitts about what's going on Neely, Henry, and Weiss Lake. Lee, what's happening at Weiss Lake right now?
Weiss is a little tough right now. It's one of those deals that just, we're still in that little funk. It's just one of those things that we can't get out of it. We need some cooler weather coming in. Catching a lot of small fish. We had a 2-day tournament here last weekend and had about 30 boats in it. I think 15 pounds was winning the first day, and it took about 13, 14, all together for a 2-day deal. So the guys are struggling. Spinnerbait bites on a little bit, but you're catching small fish. The river has still got a little stain to it, but they're moving enough water that some of these fish are pulling up. It's just a tough bite. You're having to really slow down. A jerkbait's been pretty good. Square bill's been pretty good. The top water bite has not been what we're wanting yet, but it's coming.
What about the crappie? What are you seeing with the crappie out there?
They're starting to get where they need to be. They're getting on this brush. I had some trips this last week, and we're catching fish, catching some pretty good size fish, but you're really slowing down. The dock bite is getting a little better, but most of the fish are still out there in that main river in that 10, 12, 14-foot range on wood cover. A lot of the man-made brush that we put out there, they're starting to bunch up. And even, on my hummingbirds, I can see a lot of fish down there. When I say a lot right now, 10, 15, 20, but you catch two or three and you got to move. It's like they know the game, they know what's going on. You catch a couple of fish, leave it, give it 30 minutes, you can come back to it and just do it again. But these fish are a little skittish. They're really not in that fall feeding period just yet, but they're trying to get there.
What about Neely, Henry? Let's talk about it. Are the crappies still kind of deeper docks, brush piles, stuff like that?
That they are, but Neely's a little weird right now. Something's going on where I think there, with it being a river system and a straight shot through there, the water that they pull to get gone, a lot of this backwater, you're looking at the backwater in some of these bays and some of the backs of these creeks, is the river is a whole lot cooler than what the backs of these creeks are right now. So these fish are kind of in a little bit of limbo. They don't know where to go to. Most of the guys that are catching fish are really slowing down, getting out on that river on the laydowns and the wood cover. But the guys that normally this time of year, when you can get back in these creeks and get a more, they'll chase a buzz bait down, spinnerbait bites, things like that. You got to go on back in there and get deep to find some of that cooler water. I think it's just one of those deals where that they got more current coming through, and that water that's back there is just sitting back in the sun, just absorbing all of it, and it's just a little warm back in these creeks right now.
Lee, as always, brother, we appreciate everything. We will talk to you again next week, my friend. Hey, we're checking in with Tom Ott, talking about Guntersville. Hey, Tom, we had a guy come in, one of our regular customers come in and talk about finding little bottom ends of the riprap or little current areas that you could drop a freeloader, a spunk shad, or something like that down there on them and bottom bounce it and catch spotted bass like one after the other. What kind of stuff are you seeing coming out of the lake?
Well, I'm telling you, Dano, we fished a lot last week and in a tournament, and man, there was some really good fish caught. I think 21 pounds, won it, but most of the guys were flipping. The guys that had the bigger weight were flipping. Some frogging, and things like that. So they had some youth divisions and that kind of deal. Again, we stayed out in the grass. We were catching 17, 18 pounds. And we just thought that would be the deal. And we caught a ton of fish. And if you see some of these reports, a lot of people are catching a lot of fish right now, and it just seems like they're really piling that feed bag on. As far as the spots go, I mean, we've just got more spots than we've seen, ever at Guntersville. I think, you caught a really nice one that night, but, they just get more and more prevalent. So it doesn't surprise me at all. I think there's, again, just so many different ways that you can catch fish right now. Of course, the biggest fish are going to be the ones that you can flip up, ones that you can get to eat a frog, that kind of thing. But we are starting to see those mats breaking up a little bit, and we're going to continue to see that as it gets cooler. Days get a little bit shorter.
Yeah, I hear the current running through there is coming over at 100,000 plus. So there's a ton of water coming through the system. Has it destroyed the grass mats? Is it harder to find places to frog and flip?
No, well, I mean, definitely it's getting a little bit tougher to find those. Anything that's out on the main river channel is kind of getting chewed up a little bit. That current has slowed down quite a bit. It's been fluctuating all week, but last week it wasn't terrible. A couple of days it was a little rough, but you could still get off the beaten path and not be, not fight your trolling motor the whole time. We did see some grass laying down, that kind of thing, but didn't seem to really affect the fish, and definitely not their activity level. I mean, once we got some sun, it was game on. But again, just catching those larger fish is a little bit more difficult right now, unless you're going to go in there and do some hand to hand. I think that's the best way to catch some big fish.
Crappie still around the causeways, current's keeping them there, and the striper starting to move.
Yeah, the crappie are, definitely coming in. I had a buddy the other day, him and his friends, they ended up with 53 keepers. So that's really, and that was down, on the causeway. I won't, just for his sake, I won't tell you which bridge, but I'm sure you can find it. There's not that many out there, but he's really wrecking them. And that's on the causeway. Now, I also heard some stories about some fish that were on some deeper brush, maybe in the 12-foot range. But those fish were a little tough to get to bite. I still think that we're going to see a real early crappie season. So it's time to get your stuff together and get out there and start hunting them down for sure.
Well, there you go, folks. Tom's spilling the beans. Tom, we appreciate everything. Have a great weekend, my friend. Hey, we got Gentry Gordy going to talk a little bit of lower Alabama fishing. And Gentry, I'm going to focus this week on Lake Martin with the Bassmaster Opens there, the St. Croix Bassmaster Opens, as they call them. A lot on the line with the EQs. Last tournament of the year was supposed to be at Hartwell. Now it's going to be there because of the effects of Hurricane Helena. What are you seeing out of Lake Martin, and what are these guys going to face?
Well, I had a friend of mine go up there this past weekend. I know fish a tournament. I picked his brain a little bit because I hadn't had a chance to go. The majority of the lake's clear. I thought it would be a lot more stained, but it's Martin. It clears up quick. The way I see it going is you're going to have to dedicate 2 hours in the morning shallow, running a buzz bait, your shallow docks, your trash piles, blowdowns. To me, these fish are relating to wood pretty good, your largemouth more. Do that for 2 hours. Try to get you a big bite or two. You're going to probably have to use your forward-facing sonars or your deep Carolina rig to try to finish out your limit. And then if you can do that with some time left over, maybe go back to some of those places. And it's going to take one or two big largemouth a day, I think, to really do well or win this
thing. What kind of weight do you see being good? Like, I mean, winning weight, obviously, but what other weights do you think are going to get you in that top 25?
So, I mean, these guys are good. I would say 10 to 12 pounds a day will probably get you in the top 25, but somebody's going to have one big day, I think. Numbers ain't going to be an issue. It's just the quality is. I think somebody will have a 16-pound day. And you back it up with a 14 or a 13 or something like that, that's going to probably be the guy that takes it.
Okay, Gentry, we got 40 seconds left. Talk about Jordan. What's going on there?
To me, Dano, Jordan's going to be an upriver bite still, or your better bites. They're pulling water in the afternoons and in the mornings, fishing your current breaks. Down the lake, it's still junk fishing. We haven't had we're going to have a cooling trend, but it hasn't happened yet. So it's still It's still buzz baits. When you get to a dock, flip it. Buzz bait a wall top water plug. It's junk fishing to me on the south end.
And of course, the brim are probably starting to move in as that water cools a little bit, as are the crappie, I'm sure. But hey, sounds like it might be some good fishing. It sounds like that tournament's going to be interesting. Gentry, appreciate everything, brother. We'll talk to you again next week. Hey, we got Tracy Robinson going to join us this week, talk a little bit of Logan Martin and Lay Lake. Tracy, I know you're getting ready for the ABT championship. May not want us to give too many details, but what's going on at Lay Lake?
Oh, I don't mind sharing, Dano. It's all about soaking those little minnows out there right now. The fish are on the bait balls from one day. It's not going to be a secret. These ABT guys, they all know the deal. So no need trying to keep that from anybody. But just finding the bait, putting a minnow down there, and you're going to get eat. The key is finding the quality size, Dano. So getting bits not a problem. Finding the quality is a little bit more challenging.
Is that what Tracy Robinson's going to do? Is he going to look for that forward-facing sonar?
Dano, I'm gonna have to split it up a little bit. I'm gonna spend a little bit of my time doing it because I feel pretty confident getting a decent limit doing that. I don't feel like I can win doing that, so I'm going to kind of do some of the silly stuff that I always do up there in 6 inches of water with a big weight in my hand, and get 2 or 3 bites a day doing that. So that's my only route of even potentially doing good is to split it up a little bit.
So what kind of stuff? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying the water's fluctuating a lot with, the storms and the recent rains, the upcoming storms. The water was way up this morning, and right now, at the end of the day, the water is kind of way down right now. So way down, dropped 6 or 7 inches just during the day today. So a lot of fluctuating water kind of makes it a challenge for that shallow bite.
I hear you. All right, Logan Martin, what are you hearing out of Logan Martin?
Logan Martin, I work right there at the lake, and I hear a lot of the stories there. They're still catching a lot of numbers up there, Dano. They're catching, the seawall fish that we talk about every time, pretty consistent down there. One of my buddies actually had a good bag of fish at night down there. He mixed it up between the green lights and docks and points with a spinnerbait and a jig. So some good night reports coming out from down there. I haven't talked to anybody really fishing offshore. That's kind of what I like to do down there a little bit more so than other lakes. Some of those long gravel bar points. I like the Carolina rig, and the crankbaits down there. That's what I would, at least give that a shot if I was going down there right now as one of my go-to items.
I know one of those favorite places to fish over there is the park. Is that kind of an area that you'd want to target in that stretch of the lake?
Yeah, I fish from I-20 down, pretty much is where I like to stay, but definitely down at Pell City Park, big body of water there, a lot of points, a lot of offshore structure, a lot of fish turn loose there in tournaments. So that's probably one of the more popular places, to go and get some consistency. The further you get up the lake, the narrower it gets, the more current plays into it. So pretty safe bet staying around the park.
Tracy, brother, we appreciate it. Have fun out there. We'll talk to you again next week. Well, that'll do it for our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, October the 12th. Hey, don't forget, now's a good time to look at some boats. We got some deals going on. We might even help you make a payment or two out here. Come check us out at Bucks Island. We're here Tuesday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturday, 8 to noon. Come see us over here, talk to the sales staff. Of course, we got the great service department with Misty and the team down there. And then, of course, Pat, the celebrity in the parts department with his team, help you figure out how to keep your boat running. And then, of course, we got one of the best tackle stores around in the loft upstairs with Colin and Jamie. Come see us at Bucks Island. We always love seeing you. You're the best part of what we do, and we thank you.